Hello and welcome to the Right Click Safe podcast. I'm your host Calcio, joined as always by my fellow host Jimmy T. On today's episode, the first of 2023, we wanted to jump in with opening up 2022 and our 5 favourite moments of what was a pretty incredible year in Web3.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was the depths of the bear. It's transpired that it's become the bear market year, but still I think there were some definite key moments that happened this year that are really important for the space.
We had a really incredible personal year as well, so we're probably going to do a top 5 moments on that as well. Just before we do jump into today's episode, I wanted to hear a quick word from our sponsor, Monuverse. Monuverse is an art-based project that uses the power of NFTs to hone in on culture and bring it to the forefront. Their aim is to connect communities from across the globe via the most iconic monuments and champion artists and the legacy they create. Monuverse gives holders a unique experience in which they can travel back in time to see what man's greatest creations looked like upon conception via an immersive and educational experience that displays history, art and culture with guided tours via their AI-powered guides. The first drop successfully launched on the 11th of November and featured the stunning Archer piece in Milan, Italy. Following episodes will continue to expand the Monuverse and allow holders access to in-real-life events and further growing out the understanding of the incredible world we live in. Links to find out more will be provided in the description below.
So a lot happened. It's been pretty difficult to shortlist this down to just 5 individual things that we think are like some of the top things. I'm sure we've missed some stuff. I'm sure there's stuff that other people would think were more important, but these are 5 that we highlighted between us. So Calcio, what is your first, in your opinion, big moment in the NFT space that happened this year?
I think for me it would be Deepak's purchase of a $24 million punk. It was 8,000
beat you
ETH.
to it, didn't he? Just got in there before you.
Yeah, he did. I was really eyeing it up. I thought, you know what? It's all right, I'll let him have it. But that is still to date the largest PFP sale. I would imagine it will be for a very long time.
Yeah, we need the bull market to come back.
1,000 ETH, $24 million.
What was ETH worth then?
Well, it must have been about 3K for that maths to work, 8, 16, 24.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, I think it has to go down as an incredible moment in the year because it simply is such a ridiculous amount of cheddar to spend on a profile picture.
He is using it as a profile picture though, right?
He is, yeah. So he did...
worth every penny.
Yeah, I'd say so. Obviously in November he did, after the collapse of FTX and everything like that, because it affected his company Chain, he did say that he would look to sell it, but has now decided to keep it. What an insane purchase though. And imagine being the guy who sold it, because I'm pretty sure he didn't pay anywhere near $24 million. So what a mental sale.
I wonder if the guy minted it originally. I don't have that information.
I think he was a whale punk holder and had picked it up, kind of having traded up quite a lot, but had done very well off of it. Nice. But yeah, 100% biggest moment of February was that. Jimmy?
And that was kind of like top of the market, really, wasn't it, as well? Like, it's really, so top of the crypto market was December, top of the NFT market was kind of January, so that was like a good time to hype sell. He probably thought he was getting a good deal because it had come down a little bit in February. But
well, I think brand awareness would have been a huge part for him as well.
Yeah.
And I think it definitely, Deepak was already super prominent within the space, but that's a kind of move which is unmissable. Certainly in February when everyone was still finger on the pulse to pretty much anything that happened in the NFT space if they're interested. And you couldn't miss a $24 million sale. So
yeah,
that's my first moment of 2022.
Nice. I've got it. I mean, it's probably not going to be in chronological order here, but I feel like one of the biggest moments in the space, not just for NFTs, but Web3 as well, had to be the Ethereum merge. Now, we're not ETH maxis. We do operate on other chains as well, but it was such a big thing for the space. There'd been such a huge rhetoric against NFTs about the environmental impact that the Ethereum chain had, and for it to move to a position where it cut its energy use by like 99+%. Just absolutely historic moment for the chain and the ecosystem.
I think it was one of those things where, and we've had a couple where people had kind of hyped it up to be this thing that would have a huge benefit to the market, that would change the NFT market completely and make everything really expensive and crazy priced. That didn't happen. I think by September, people had already kind of accepted that the hype had seriously died down. Again, obviously still not disregarding the people who really are still here. That's fantastic. But the ability to flip freely had long since gone.
Yeah.
So it didn't have that impact. But what it will have long lasting.
What do you think would have happened if it happened the September before?
I wondered this, and I actually think that a better time for it, if the true kind of best time, probably would have been about November, December of last year, because people were aware of NFTs, but that was still part of the rhetoric. If they'd flipped that switch, I know it's not, but boom,
Yeah.
ETH merge, woo, happy days. In December of last year, as in 2021, game over. I think
it would have been game over in a way. Gas prices would have been absolutely
it would
insane.
have been insane. Yeah. And I mean, we were paying, I remember paying $200 for transactions that were just casual transactions. So if that was eradicated and there was, again, it's funny because obviously the way they sold the ETH merge, or a lot of influencers did, was that gas fees would be completely gone. You'd never pay gas again.
That was a little bit of it was one of these misconceptions about the merge. That is in the pipeline. But
I think people would have been instantly like, oh, this is great. And then when they realised that the gas fees actually probably would get a bit worse because congestion is going to get worse, they'd be, But yeah, it's a huge moment. And again, it's one of those legacy moments more than anything else, which kind of will outlast the hype of 22.
Yeah, I think the effect of the merge won't really be fully seen. It's a network effect that's going to happen over a few years. ETH being deflationary, it's got to be good for it. When the crypto market picks up again, it can't be a bad thing.
No, I agree. My next moment actually is just a great homage to how shithousery in Web3 is still great. Cast your mind back to March 2022 and the launch of one of the most infamous ruggers to ever exist, Pixelmon. $70 million raised on a 3 ETH mint.
Yeah.
The birth of Kevin, for me, was one of the best moments of 20. 3 ETH was the start of a Dutch auction.
Oh, bloody hell.
And the birth of Kevin, which is my next best moment of 2022, because I think it showed how the shithousery in Web3 is powerful. Like the generic kind of cliche, all real degens, it got a bit cringy, how many times people would say it, but Kevin really showed that people were still capable of being absolute shithouses, because if you remember, Kevin's ran up to 7, 8, 9, 10 ETH as well. So it's a real testament to the OG
we've got him on the wall, don't we? He's up there above your head. Proud place next to Gary V. Living his good life. But Kevin, I mean, it shows the good humor of the space in a way, and the great thing about human nature in general, that people can kind of like find these little positives amongst the absolute shit show. But yeah, it wasn't quite. We can't blame the market going down on Kevin and Pixelmon, but it did extract a lot of money from the NFT space and definitely didn't help.
It's one of those things where, and again, we're gonna probably do a kind of 5 worst moments. It'd be hard not to talk about Pixelmon when we do, because it's actually such an insane amount of money. Hang
on, how is this in our highlights?
It is mental, but I think it's more that Kevin is still there, and like that is the fact the community went, you know what, fuck it, this is bad. We're going to run these things up to like 10 ETH, which at the time would have been $20,000-$30,000. That's just mental. Like,
what's Kevin worth these days?
I want to say a lot less. I'd love to be able to tell off the top of my head. I probably should have more research, but yeah. So Kevin's my third moment of NFTs and Web3 in 2022.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so another highlight for me would definitely be finally having some competition from OpenSea. I think OpenSea had such a monopoly on the market for such a long time, and didn't really have any competition, and therefore didn't really need to execute any number of changes to keep their customer base happy, because the customers didn't really have many other options to go. This year, we've obviously seen the launch and success of a number of other big exchanges like Magic Eden, X2Y2, Floor. There's loads of different options you've got now. And what we've immediately seen is OpenSea suddenly might start making changes that people wanted, some that people didn't want, but they definitely seem to actually be taking on board some of the criticism they've been having and actually looking to develop their product.
The actual product, the UI, everything that comes with OpenSea is still not perfect, but it's, if you compare it to what we had in the summer of 21, the heights of that summer, baby girl, it's an infinitely better product. And I think that one of the stats that is incredible to kind of remember is that in June of 22, Magic Eden was valued at $1.6 billion. If that's not seen as competition, then I don't really know what is. Now, again, Magic Eden have perhaps not, should we say, taken this kind of mantle forwards and perhaps haven't filled the space that was there fully. But it's incredible to see how they have attempted to do it. Now, there's a lot of rhetoric around some of these marketplaces, X2, Y2, etc., being a way for influencers and large-scale Web3 operators to extract a huge amount of value, to have a token and manipulate, blah, 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 blah. Different conversation for a different day. But ultimately, in a world where OpenSea was the only option, even if those competitors are not necessarily all squeaky clean and with the best intentions, if it means we get positive change, which we did, I would 100% say it's good. And ultimately cannot argue with you in the slightest that it's got to be in there for a top highlight of the year, really. Just seeing OpenSea actually have to work.
Yeah, definitely. It was kind of about time. And yeah, I think what you're saying about changes that we wanted and didn't want, obviously this kind of brought in the 0% royalty things debate that we're not going to go into in much detail now, because I think it's been well over discussed by every single person that makes content in the space. But yeah, it's a positive thing. It just shows a maturing market to have this kind of competition coming in.
My final highlight as well, and this is one that unfortunately can't go in my personal highlights due to some bank issues, as we all know. TDLR on that is my bank refused to let me pay money into the crypto exchange that I used to be able to purchase a Bored Ape 2 weeks before Apecoin dropped. But Apecoin and just the quality of, or the quantity, of money that ape holders were rewarded with. I think off of the bat, if they'd sold all your Apecoin on day one, you'd have been up $80,000, which is absolutely monumental.
Which you could use to actually buy a Bored Ape these days.
Yeah, I mean, you literally could. And even now, I mean, I'm pretty sure they're still yielding, if they use Apecoin correctly and right, it's still a couple of $1,000 a day.
Yeah, I heard it was like 2K a week, which is just madness. And I hope to see that money coming back into the space at some point.
But even if it doesn't, I think you've got to look at what it is and what it was, the NFT space in its raw form for, I'd say, from kind of May 21 all the way through till pretty much May 22 was just this electric whirlwind of mental, crazy, if you were smart, lucky, whatever you want to call it, financial period where you could go from having absolutely nothing. How many Bored Ape holders had nothing, and then talk about ultimately having 500,000 plus liquid if they were selling at that time, whatever. And I think the fact that whether you like Yuga or not, the fact to kind of caveat this also, you've got to put it in there, purchased their biggest rivals in punks, just went, right, we'll have that. Yeah. Huge. To be able to provide their holders, who if you minted it for 0.08 back in May 1st, 21, here's $80,000 on the first day, plus the fact you could hold it, plus the fact you could claim on a mutant that you could have had as well, and dogs.
The little doggies, which are now mooning in price at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, and again, ultimately, I think it's probably not unfair to say that NFTs a lot of the time, when we exclude art-based NFTs, are just shitcoins with a picture. Give me that shitcoin if it's giving me $80,000 of. Yeah,
you don't get a lot of shitcoins that only have a 10,000 fixed supply. So
no, that's also true, and you don't get many that give you $80,000 as a redeemable just for having paid a fraction of that a year ago. So
when 2022 ENS drop, that's what I'm asking. That's what I wanted on my highlights. The second ENS drop just before Christmas. I could have been smug again. Didn't happen.
My honourable mentions actually would be the sheer volume of airdrops we got throughout the year that just really did keep on bolstering the market. I mean, at one point we were just getting drops for fun. ENS is probably the most memorable.
It was more December though, wasn't it? 2021.
That was but there were plenty throughout the year where we were just claiming money for just doing things. Yeah. And I can't remember the platform, but there was one where you could. I think I claimed about $14,000 or something.
Was that SOS?
It might have been SOS.
I think that was again December though. Didn't quite creep into the year. I
and
might
it's
be
not
wrong
an
on that. Don't quote me on that. But you're right. Like there's the whole thing of timing the market against time in the market, and the airdrops is a massive thing of being in the market for a long time. Like as I've said many times, I've been in crypto since 2017. I've bought a huge variety of coins, and some of them that I bought ended up getting I bought a load of XRP back in 2017. Don't tell anyone, people hate XRP, but
you just told everyone.
I know. It enabled me to get loads of airdrops like Flare and a load of other stuff, which I then just instantly sold just for a bit of extra cash, which I then obviously poured into NFTs.
I think as well. Ultimately, the kind of roundup on this is that there's an infinite amount of moments that really should have been and could have been mentioned. It goes without saying that
Yeah.
the rise of Solana NFTs as well. Again, I appreciate
Yeah.
they're not in a great state overall, and I know that their most prominent collections have now kind of moved or get a bridge to ETH and Poly. But the way that they rose out and became so prominent, considering how inferior they were seen to be.
Yeah.
And how it was just an impossible task, huge moment to see that kind of come up. I think that the sheer volume of Web3 events we have or had in 2022, whether or not their quality was there or not, again, NFT NYC, we all regularly attest that the actual event needed to be better, but the quality of how well people came together, amazing.
If you went to NFT London, you'd still be loving on NFT NYC.
Yeah, it didn't look great, but I think overall 2022 was a mixed year for NFTs and Web3. I think it's probably shaken out any of the people who are not either so far in debt they've got to keep going, or people who really care. It's kind of a bit of both for a lot of people, I think, as well.
Yeah.
They're so far in that they want to continue.
We always like a good shakeout. We've been through many shakeouts in crypto, and they're painful for the people who stay. 2018 was 2019 were very painful, but the market came back, and we're looking forward to how the market comes back with NFTs in a new, mature way.
Whether or not we see the kind of meteoric price rises.
I almost don't want to in a way, because I know that sounds stupid, but I think it creates a massive barrier of entry to people. And unless we see fractionalizing of NFTs in a popular format that people actually want to do, NFTs running up to hundreds of thousands or even just thousands basically prevents normal people from getting into the market, because what normal person has got spare, especially in this cost of living crisis that we're in at the moment, has a spare $1,000 or £1,000 to spend on pictures?
I guess the ultimate kind of close on it really is that 2022 did what NFTs needed, which was show that the profile picture meta is garbage, that it really doesn't serve anyone but I know, Jimmy, unbelievable, doesn't serve anyone but the man or woman or person behind the mirror who's making millions of dollars off of it, and potentially some guys who are lucky enough to make some money off of flipping. I think it showed that NFT's utility is not going to be provided by a 20-year-old who's never run a business and has sold you a random animal profile picture. And I think ultimately a lot of people are really now aware of NFTs. Whether or not they care, no, think they're a scam, a fad, a joke, doesn't really matter. I think the awareness of them is there. And so going forwards, if the technology is going to prevail, it's now in a position where the quality should rise to the top and see off any foe who is unwilling to compete at his best capacity. And so ultimately, I think 2022 has been a great year. And we're about to record, I hope, our 5 personal favourite moments of the year. We're going to try and get a lot more content out in 2023. That's going to be our real main focus. We want to get 2 videos out every single week. We want to be making a video where we record together and, of course, have one of our guest episodes every single week as well. So you're going to be seeing a lot more of the RCS podcast on a consistent and regular basis. Apart from that, I've been your host, Calcio, joined as always by my fellow co-host, Jimmy T. Any closing words, Jim?
Just hoping for a bullish 2023.
I like that. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you all soon.
See you soon.